A Connecticut school bus driver caught on camera falling asleep at the wheel with dozens of kids on board. When you think about that, it begs the question, how do you know the person driving your child to and from school is safe?
Tonight, the troubleshooters are taking an in-depth look at the system of checks and balances when it comes to bus drivers' safety. Brad Drazen's here with what he learned. Brad.
We found there's a pretty high bar for applicants to clear to get the license required to drive a school bus. But what happens once they're in that seat? Our investigation found there are several holes in that system, including an acknowledgement by police that they are not holding up their end of the bargain.
These big yellow school buses carry precious cargo and high stakes.
You're pretty much putting the safety of your children in the school bus driver's hand.
In December, police arrested a driver in Shelton after he was captured on camera dozing off at the wheel multiple times.
The determination was that his license was seized and that he shouldn't be driving, on the opinion of the officer.
That driver admitted to taking methadone and also says he may have taken NyQuil instead of Dayquil. He's entered not guilty pleas to 30 felony counts of risk of injury to a child, but was immediately fired. The troubleshooters did an extensive investigation into what safeguards are in place to ensure the men and women who transport our kids every day are safe.
They have probably one of the greatest responsibilities of getting the kids to and from school safely, and I'm not sure about the screening that actually goes into who they hire.
This industry, there is no room for errors. We have what we think is a very good recruitment program.
DATCO CEO Cliff Gibson says finding good drivers is a challenge.
They have to like children. They have to have good temperament. They have to be safe drivers, of course, but that kind of is expected.
State law requires anyone seeking a school bus endorsement on their commercial driver's license to clear several initial hurdles: state and FBI criminal history checks, a check of the state child abuse registry, a drug test, and they must have a clean driving record. That's before an applicant begins a 1 to 2 month training program. Once they are certified, drivers receive ongoing training, physical exams, and are subject to random drug tests. Plus, they're held to a higher standard than the typical driver.
All CDL holders need to be very careful of what they do and that they obey all the laws, whether they're behind the wheels of their private vehicles or they're in the vehicles, most importantly, that the CDL is required for.
Any conviction on a motor vehicle infraction in their personal vehicle or on the job will lead to a suspension of an endorsement to operate a school bus. Furthermore, school bus drivers must be pulled off the road if they are simply arrested for any felony or fourth-degree sexual assault.
The police are required to report to us the arrest of someone when they find out that they have a public passenger endorsement or a school bus driver's license.
That notification must happen within 48 hours. John Salvatore is president of the Connecticut Police Chiefs Association.
The state is, in this law, is a little bit more preemptive as opposed to waiting for a conviction, which may be a year or more down the road.
But the troubleshooters spoke with officers in several local departments who tell us they knew nothing about the law. Chief Salvatore says his inquiries revealed there's far less compliance than he expected.
I realize we're not as familiar with the statute as we should be. I just appreciate you bringing it to our attention.
So Chief Salvatore says he has sent a memo through the chiefs of police to make sure they re-emphasize the reporting requirements of law enforcement with respect to school bus drivers.
Well, that's law enforcement, but what about the bus companies? They have to have a hand in this. We're talking about our kids here.
It's a very important piece of it. So the bus companies are required by state law to check a list. The DMV maintains a list of all the suspended and disqualified bus drivers, those that were caught for a motor vehicle infraction or arrested for a serious crime. The companies are required to check that list every 2 weeks. That is a hurdle that may be too high for them to clear, because my colleague Len Bestoff has another part. We've looked into this for several months now, and he has some details tomorrow relating to the companies that are going to open your eyes in terms of some more gaps in the law, and ultimately that they may not be doing what the law requires. So a lot more to this story.
All right, we'll look forward to the follow-up. Thank you, Brad.